In the heart of the secluded village of Okwunma, nestled between rolling red earth and ancient whispering trees, there stood an iroko so old that even the elders spoke of it in hushed voices. They said its roots touched the realm of spirits and its branches brushed the doorway of the sky. In that village lived two sisters, Amara and Ngozi. Amara was sunlight made flesh. Her laughter danced like morning bird song over the thatched rooftops. When she walked through the marketplace, women smiled and men nodded in admiration. She danced at festivals as though the drums beat only for her. Children followed her as if she were a story come alive. Ngozi, her younger sister, was different. Quiet. Observant. Where Amara sparkled, Ngozi listened. Where Amara rushed forward, Ngozi paused and measured her steps. Villagers mistook her silence for weakness, but those who paid attention knew better. Her thoughts ran deep like the village well. And her courage, though hidden, was unshakable. Now, Okwunma was no ordinary village. Beyond its last hut lay the forbidden forest, an ancient woodland no villager entered after sunset. The elders warned that spirits roamed there. Some said they had seen pale lights weaving between the trees. Others swore they heard voices calling their names when no one stood behind them. And at the heart of that forest was a path known as the Spirit Path. It was said that if you walked it at night, something would walk behind you. Or worse, something would walk ahead. One evening, when dusk bled slowly into night and the moon hung like a watchful eye, a stranger arrived in Okwunma. He did not greet anyone. He did not sit by the communal fire. He did not ask for water or shelter. He was cloaked in shadow, his face hidden beneath a hood woven from cloth so dark it seemed to swallow the starlight. His steps made no sound on the dusty ground. The drumming stopped when he passed. Even the dogs did not bark. An old woman, Mama Ijeoma, gripped her walking stick and whispered, "He walks like one who does not belong to this world." Without speaking, the stranger turned toward the narrow path leading out of the village. Toward the forbidden forest. A tremor rippled through the villagers. "Do not follow him," warned the village elder, her voice thin but firm. "Strangers who walk the spirit path at night bring only sorrow." But Amara's heart was already racing, not with fear, but with excitement. A mystery. An adventure. A story that would be told with her name at its center. She felt it, a pull. As though invisible fingers tugged gently at her curiosity. Ngozi felt something too. But it was not curiosity. It was dread. The air around the stranger felt wrong. Not evil, not exactly. Just empty. As if he carried a piece of the night inside him. She saw Amara step quietly after him. "Amara," Ngozi whispered urgently. "Don't." But the forest swallowed her words. Hidden behind the massive trunk of the ancient iroko, Ngozi watched as her sister followed the cloaked figure. The stranger did not turn. Did not slow. Yet somehow, he knew she followed. The trees seemed to lean closer as they passed. Branches creaked like old bones. The moonlight dimmed. Then they were gone. Amara's bright wrapper vanished into darkness. The forest exhaled. And silence fell. The village returned to its fires and hushed conversations, pretending nothing had happened. But Ngozi stood rooted to the earth. She knew. Deep in her bones. Something was wrong. Hours passed. Amara did not return. When the moon reached its highest point and still there was no sign of her, fear settled over Okwunma like harmattan dust. By dawn, the villagers gathered. "We must search," said a young hunter. "No," the elder warned. "The forest has claimed what it was given. To follow is to offer more." Ngozi stepped forward. "I am going." Murmurs rose around her. "You are too quiet, too gentle," someone scoffed. "If Amara could not return, what makes you think you can?" Ngozi lifted her chin. Because I am not going to chase him, she said softly. I am going to bring my sister home. And before fear could change her mind, she stepped onto the spirit path. The forest felt different in daylight. Thicker. Watchful. Ngozi carried no weapon, only a small gourd of water and a charm their mother had once tied around her wrist. It was woven from palm fiber and tiny cowries. Their mother had said it protected against spirits that fed on pride. Ngozi walked carefully, remembering every story she had ever heard. Do not answer if the forest calls your name. Do not eat fruit you did not see grow. Do not follow footprints that appear without sound. The deeper she walked, the colder the air became. Then she heard it. Ngozi. Her voice. Amara's voice. It drifted through the trees like smoke. Over here. Ngozi's heart leapt. But she did not move toward it. Instead, she closed her eyes and whispered, My sister does not call me from shadows. The voice faded. Moments later, she saw him. The stranger stood ahead, motionless. Beside him was Amara. But something was wrong. Amara's eyes were open, yet empty. Her movements slow, like a puppet tugged by invisible strings. Return home, the stranger said at last, his voice low and echoing as though spoken from a well. She chose to follow. Ngozi stepped forward. You did not stop her. The stranger tilted his head. I never ask. I never force. I only walk. Ngozi looked at her sister carefully. Amara's beauty was still there, but dulled. As if the forest had drained the shine from her. What do you want? Ngozi asked. The stranger's hood shifted, but his face remained hidden. I take what follows me, he replied. Those who chase mystery without understanding become part of it. Ngozi swallowed. Then take me too. The forest stirred. Even the stranger seemed surprised. You would trade yourself? Ngozi shook her head. No, I will walk ahead of you. Silence. In Okwunma, she continued, we are taught that the path belongs to those who lead with wisdom, not those who chase with pride. If you walk, I will walk first. The stranger was still. Then, slowly, he stepped aside. Ngozi moved in front of him. With each step she took, she spoke softly, not to him, but to Amara. Remember the river where we used to swim? Step. Remember mother's cooking fire? Step. Remember who you are? Behind her, Amara stumbled. The forest trembled. The stranger's shadow flickered. Stop, he commanded. Ngozi did not. She reached back and grabbed Amara's hand. It was cold. But it tightened around hers. The charm at Ngozi's wrist began to warm. Light, faint but growing, spread from her hand to Amara's. The trees groaned. The stranger let out a sound like wind through hollow branches. You break the rule, he hissed. Ngozi turned. No, she said firmly. You do. And for the first time, the hood slipped. Where a face should have been, there was only darkness. Not evil. Just emptiness. A void that fed on attention. On curiosity. On pride. It grew strong when followed. Weak when ignored. Ngozi stepped away from him, pulling Amara with her. We will not follow you, she said. And as they turned their backs, the forest shifted. The path widened. Birdsong returned. When Ngozi dared to glance back, the stranger was gone. They emerged from the forest at sunset. The village gasped. Amara collapsed into their father's arms, sobbing. Ngozi stood quietly beside her. The elder approached. What did you see? She asked. Ngozi looked toward the forest. Nothing, she replied. And that is why he is dangerous. From that day on, whenever a stranger passed through Okwunma, the villagers remembered. It was not the loudest who were strongest. It was not the brightest who saw most clearly. And whenever children grew curious about the spirit path, the elders would tell them the story of the two sisters. Of Amara, who followed, and Ngozi, who did not. And they would end the tale the same way, their voices low and steady. Not every path is meant to be chased. Not every shadow deserves your curiosity. And when the night walks ahead of you, they would pause. Do not follow him.